Hello, everybody. This is Fabiola Mistelske, your host, and welcome to the 90-10 Rule podcast. I am very excited today to have a feature guest, and his name is Pablo Olivieri. I always have trouble pronouncing his name, but I'm going to have Pablo introducing himself, and we're going to be talking about marketing, about sales, personal brand, such a hot topic right now in the business world. And I have a true professional passionate about these topics. So I'm gonna have Pablo to introduce himself and talk more about his business. So Pablo, welcome to our show. So please introduce yourself to our audience because we are very excited to have you here.
Fabiola, thank you so much for having me here. This is very exciting, and I don't blame you about the name. My name actually is one last name with two words. So it's Pablo Rendic-Olivieri.
I always miss the
Imagine how
first
many
one.
times I had to spell that and put it everywhere, and oh my God, it's crazy. But yes, don't worry about it. Pablo is just fine. But thank you for having me here. I've been following you along, and it's really an honor for me to be here. Let's see what value we can give to the listeners, and see if we talk marketing, which is my very favorite subject.
I know. I mean, we have known each other for so long. And just as I know, we used to work together for the same company many months ago. And that's how we met. And Pablo is truly a professional when it comes to marketing. And I want you to tell us more about your business because I know you have a business for a very long time and you have seen all the trends, all the changes in the industry. And I think this is going to be something super valuable to our listeners to know a bit more about what you do, how you can help potential clients in your areas. Tell us the name of your company, how long you have been in the industry, and tell us a little bit more about your journey. Like why marketing?
Absolutely. Wow, that's it. It's a lot to compress into little time.
That's right.
But I think I was born for this. I absolutely love marketing because I love connections. I love communicating and connecting with people, and that's what marketing is: meaningful connections.
Right.
So the in the beginning when we met, I actually was working for marketing and communications for that
That's right.
company, and I used to do a lot of videos, and that's how I started. Doing videos, interviews, connecting with people, trying to save lives. We work for a nonprofit.
That's
I
right.
actually stayed working there for 14 years, and
Wow.
it was an amazing thing because um, like one of the CEOs at the time said that it doesn't matter what we did within the company, we were saving lives for a living.
Right.
And that actually stuck in my head. Then I had the opportunity to create my company, which we have for 10 years now. But
Wow.
when I started doing websites and a little bit of design and creating logos and understanding where the basis of each company was, but always focusing on the audience. It was very important for me to, because I was coming from this nonprofit, we were actually asking for people to donate blood. So when you ask for people to donate blood, it's not like donating money. It's not like
Right.
donating their boats, their cars, their things, which are very
Right.
important to donate as well. And there's a use for that. But the blood donation is the most personal donation that you can give to somebody. And to ask for that respectfully, and you have to understand really that audience and
Right.
understand why they do what they do and bring value to it. So I thought that was very interesting because I saw a lot of other businesses and a lot of other nonprofits that were not clear into what is it that their
Mm-hmm.
audience really needed. So that brought a spark in my head and said I need to build something where I can help smaller nonprofits or smaller businesses understand this so they can communicate better and they have better revenue, and that the actions that they bring to society, hopefully good impact. Actually, that's all I work with.
Right.
They that good impact could be magnified by just talking to the right people. So that's what it is: creating meaningful connections between one and the other.
And it's something interesting that you mentioned, because even though we work for a nonprofit for a very long time, and I completely understand where you're coming from when it comes to asking people to donate. We used to work for One Blood, and you do blood donations. I used to work in the bone marrow department, and that was bone marrow donation. So we were asking people to not only donate their time, but a little bit, a piece of themselves. And the mission was always about saving people's lives. But I think we transferred that mission into our businesses, because I have seen and I have heard, actually one of my mentors is spine chilling when she mentioned to me about her story, and when she talks about her suicidal couch. She said to me, Fabiola, I was done. I was done and I was done. And the only thing that kept her alive was her children. And I'm tying that with what we do, because I truly believe that we also save lives in another way. Because once we show, I'm coming from the coach perspective and showing people how they can scale their businesses, showing them another way to do things, and showing them that there is a way and there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And for our clients to understand that they can do it. They only need the right tools. And I think that's when our work comes in. And marketing is such a powerful tool. It's very, very powerful. And unfortunately, most people right now are looking for the easy way to either make sales, to create something easy without any effort. And I believe that I know that that's not how this works. You truly have to work towards that goal and understand the psychology, the buyer psychology when it comes to selling. And this is something that I always focus in my work as a coach, making understand my clients how potential clients sees them, and how they think about them and about their services, and how that helps them in return. So when it comes to selling, I don't know if you are sales person. Are you?
Okay, so many things. I love that question. I'm gonna get to it. One
Uh-huh.
of the things that you're saying, I obviously resonate a lot with what you're saying, because one of the things that we need to understand is basically show me the numbers. When you
Right.
show the numbers of what you have, what you had, and what you could have in
Right.
result of the previous experience, then you can convince somebody to understand, okay, this is the path. Having a clear path for the marketing plan is extremely important. Just like a life plan, just like a sales plan, just like anything,
Right.
you have to have that path. And then that's where people understand. Otherwise, you're selling smoke. So it's a lot of that.
Right.
If I'm a salesperson, I think everybody needs to be a salesperson. And we sell every
Every.
single day. You're selling ideas. You're selling in the morning when you wake up. Hey, would you like coffee? Or you want a bottle of water? Or you want water? Or you want this and that? You're selling your ideas every day.
Right.
And you sell those ideas and you get most of the yeses because you know and understand what you're selling and to who you're selling. So that tells you how you speak to that person. Like I
Right.
always say, it's not the same. Let's pretend I'm in the couch, sitting in the couch, I'm watching TV, for example, and I really don't want to stand up and get a glass of water. But I have grandma right there in the kitchen, and then I have my daughter right here playing something in her room, doing who knows what. Is I'm not going to pick the same words, the same tone, the same way that I will ask for a glass of water for my grandma than for my
Right.
daughter. Those are channels. Those are me understanding the tone and voice that I need to use for them are the channels that we normally use, whether they're social media, email, or whatever. We need to make sure that we utilize the right voice and the right effort. So I asked for a glass of water of my grandma. This way, I will get a glass of water. I ask in a different way for my daughter, I get a glass of water. But what if I ask them both in different ways? One, the way that she needs to be told the right way, and
Right.
then a different way for her. I get two glasses of water. And that's what we do with marketing every day. And that's how we understand what selling is. We're actually fulfilling a need. We're recognizing a problem and we have the solution. That's what the business is supposed to have. But marketing, what it does is that it needs to communicate perfectly what
Right.
the solution is for those people that actually need it. So, yes, I sell every single day, even to myself.
And it's so important to understand that you're not really selling, you are helping, when it comes to the customer mind. Because this is one of the things that I keep noticing with my own clients, them telling me, don't want to. I don't want to look salesy. I don't want to feel like I'm pushy. And I always come back to that sentence. You're not selling, you're helping. So when you switch that mindset, I think it's a really powerful tool for whoever is listening right now. You're not selling, you're helping your customers, you're selling your product. This is something that I teach in my courses. You are selling the result and you are positioning the product. You always want to highlight what they're getting from you. And I think when you concentrate more on how you help your potential client is when you take that pressure off of you in feeling either salesy or pushy. Because if you ask my husband, my goodness, he dislikes salesperson. That's how he mentions that. But it's because he has experience in the past. People that are truly selling out of desperation, right? And you transfer that same energy into whatever you're telling them and whatever techniques you are using with your potential client, and that energy of desperation, of pushing and trying to get money out of that customer, they are feeling the same thing. So when you switch that energy, when you switch that mindset of helping instead of selling, I think that is a really powerful tool. And I really like to highlight that piece of information with my own customers when I'm coaching. And it's a really, really powerful tool. Now, when it comes to personal branding, because I know you are huge on personal branding and you are an expert. You have been doing this for a very long time and you truly understand what it is to have a strong personal brand, because I do believe for this year, 2025, you do not have a strong personal brand, your business cannot grow. Because I feel like now people are buying from people. Like, I feel like things are changing in the marketing world when it comes to selling, when it comes to building your personal brand. So, what is the one thing, the one tip you would give to the audience about building a personal brand?
Okay. Let me recap because of that I love personal branding and you're absolutely
I
right. It's
know.
extremely important. The helping people is exactly what I agree 100%.
Right.
Selling is helping. It's just that the word
Right.
sell has been demonized so bad
Is
because
that
it's like
loaded?
I want to give you and push this down the throat and then you
Right.
gotta sell this because I need the money. And that's how everybody feels when that work. When you do it correctly with the concepts of marketing and ethics, what you're doing is that you're convincing, you're helping. I love that word. You're helping that person. You're giving them the solution of what they
Right.
need, and you're convincing them why. But you're also showing that
Right.
that is going to help because otherwise, you're just selling an ice cream to an Eskimo. It's going to be really hard to do. You don't want to go to the beach and sell that ice cream to somebody
Right.
that really needs it at the moment. So it's absolutely that. And when in terms of personal branding, it's extremely important depending on your product and your audience and who you are. There are products that don't need really personal branding that you can just buy this and you buy the actual brand. You fall in love with the
Okay.
brand, such as Nike, such as even Bounty, toilet paper. Everybody wants toilet
Right.
paper, but
Right.
everybody uses toilet paper, hopefully. But it is sold to the mother at home that makes the financial decisions of the family. That's why everything is family oriented or everything is fluffy and plushy and cool. So understanding your audience and understanding what necessity you are fulfilling then will make you understand if you need a personal brand or not. For those of you that do, which is like services, when you're given a service, when you're doing a marketing, when you're a coach, when you are selling food, when you are, I mean, there's so many businesses that do this, events. It's mostly what they're buying is your knowledge and your style. And what they're buying is the experience that you are bringing them. So what you really need to focus on when doing your brand is the experience. How do you look? Do you look like your brand? Do you look like the end of what how do you say it? Do you look like what the customer would like to see themselves as? Do you look like the
Right.
end result? That's the word I was looking for. Do you look like the end result for your clients? Or do you look, how is the experience that they have when they see you on your website? What's the experience that they have when they actually call you for the first time or they set up that meeting or when they buy a product from you, whether it's a cake or whether it's a service, but let's put a cake. How is that cake presented to them? Because the cake could be fantastic, but the packaging of that cake, the experience of opening that package
Right.
brings you something that is invaluable, and that is branding. That's how they connect to you. That's why Apple, for example, spends so much money on their boxes. They want to unbox something, and when you have that experience, they're revealing every single piece of the product to make it feel like open a new gift within the new gift. And that's how you want to do it. Even if you have a service that doesn't have any, how do you package that service is something that you have to think about. Your image is very important. People judge you by your image in the first 3 seconds. It's
Yeah.
horrible because you don't want to judge a book by its cover. But
Right.
unfortunately, in these times, we all see and judge right away. We have been
Right.
trained by that, by social media, the attention span, and the inundation of information that we have in our heads. It's just too much information that people are sharing, and therefore, your brain needs to waste the least amount of energy that can, and it's going to go for those shiny objects, or it's going to go to something that already knows as reference and will judge you right away for it without even having the time to open up or talking to you about it. So personal branding for most of the companies that we're talking about and the services that we're talking about is extremely important because once again, you need to create a meaningful connection. How do you resonate with that audience? And the only way to resonate with that audience is with your product. If you have a bad
Right.
product or a bad service, no marketing it's going
It's
to
gonna
be
help.
able to sustain your business because
Right.
then you're
Right.
not solving a problem. Then we go back to the salesperson. I'm going to sell you
Right.
this empty water bottle. What do I want it for? I don't know, but there you go. You can have your empty water bottle even if you're thirsty. And then you're never going to go back to that person because it did not solve a problem. And that
Right.
you have to have that in mind.
Right. And it's interesting because I always feel that the product based business in a service based business is quite different, but the core of the personal brand is always the same.
Because humans are buying this thing. The end
Right.
user is always going to be a human. And
The
and
same
and
per yeah,
we're all the same. I mean, even though that we have lots of different cultures, languages, and all that, in the core, we all have feelings, and that is
that's right.
something that we need to make sure that we touch. Feelings are extremely important into how they feel when they interact with our brand.
And that is so interesting because this is something that I learned from one of my mentors. And I remember her telling me over and over and over and over again, you sell the feeling. How is she's gonna feel when she buys your services? Is she's gonna feel in this case, I'm gonna talk briefly about my bridal hair and makeup business. And I remember her telling me, how are you gonna make that person's feel on their wedding day? They're not buying the hair and makeup that you're offering. They're buying the feeling from
You.
you. Exactly. So it's the whole package, how they're gonna feel, because the feeling is what truly connects with your subconscious. And when you make that connection, even without thinking, you're gonna buy the product because that's what is connecting with your subconscious mind, that feeling. And as easy as it sounds though, and this is something that I have learned with my own clientele, is that even if as my clients, okay, be clear with your message, be clear on who you are trying to help, is always a bit complicated because we have been trained in selling, right, the wrong way, in selling your product. And yesterday I had a really interesting conversation with one of my clients when I was doing a coaching session, because she had a client that was going to buy her course, right? And then she mentioned to her, I need to talk to my husband and then I will get back with you. And then she said, I waited 2 days and then I reached out to her and I asked her, do you want me to send you the payment link? And I'm like, you were selling. You were not helping. So that is the way we have been trained to do it. Like to push people to buy from you. At the end of the day, I completely understand, because if you're not making any sales, I'm sorry, your business is stagnant. It's not gonna grow and it's not gonna go anywhere, and your income is gonna remain the same. So learning this art of selling the right way with a solution and a feeling is gonna help everybody to understand the right message and the way you should be talking to people, for them to understand what you're offering and how you're helping them. And like I said, I feel like once you understand that, you kind of take off that pressure of feeling salesy or pushy or whatever the case may be. But very interesting concepts, when it comes to like selling and how to talk to people. That is an art. And do you want to share something about your business that you feel is going to help? Like, what is the unique thing that you offer to your clients when it comes to your services? Because you have done marketing for so long, and I feel like you are truly an expert. I have not met a single person with that much experience as you. So learning from you, for me, is absolutely incredible. So whatever tip you want to give to the audience about why they should buy from you, because I believe that you offer a really unique solution to your clients. So what would that thing, or what would that be from your business, that unique thing?
Why? Oh, okay. So I think that the main thing that we need to look at is the focus, the empathy is the word that I need to say.
Wow.
Empathy will be the first thing that you need as a business owner to understand your audience. When you have that
Wow.
empathy and you put yourself in their shoes, then you know when is the right time. Go, and I will respond the last question. But when you are asking and about the client that you just had, when you're talking about the client that you just had that they were just selling, if there is a moment when you need to understand when the buyer is ready to buy, and you can have
Right.
processes for it. You can automate a lot of that stuff, but you cannot always use that same automation or that same process for everybody. That's why it's important that you have more than one type of client and more than one type of process. It's like asking for someone to marry you, right? You want to pop the question at the right time, but nobody tells you, hey, after 2 months of doing this, and after 3 months, then you're going to do that, and then after 1 month, you're going to do this, and then you pop the question on this date. You don't do that. You do it when you feel that it's right. You do it when you have a relationship that is trustworthy in both ways, and that you have something to offer that is a win-win. Win-win is always when you make the right session. So my main product is my experience. Is what I've dealt with thousands of, I mean, not thousands, but hundreds, literally hundreds of businesses throughout this 15 years of experience that I have working on and off, and last 10 with my own company, to understand where they are in the process and where they are in the relationship with their clients, looking at their product and understanding their actual customer journey, which is a fancy way to see of how the client feels in every single touch point of the conversation and the
Wow.
sales process that you have. So if you have a good customer journey, if you make them feel from the website that they can identify, you can make it easy for them to find exactly what they're looking for on your website and make it easy for them to click on that and get either more information, make the purchase, do that appointment or do whatever it is it that you want them to do, what we call conversion, which is the goal that you want them to do at the end. When you do that, you're starting with a good experience. But after that, you need to follow up and you need to talk to that person. I mean, whether it's via text, whether it's via WhatsApp, whether it's an email, or whether you call them personally, you have to
Right.
identify which channel they prefer to do it. So grandma, she may like an email, but my daughter, she may like a text. And then
Right.
I'll get 2 glasses of water because I use 2 different channels to talk to them. Once you understand who you're talking to and when you're talking to that person is when you're going to have a much better result. And one of the tools that I think that is extremely important to have is for you to pick the right CRM. CRM is a customer relation management. It's a system, it's basically a Rolodex, but digital, where it keeps all the information from a particular client that will give you actual information about that specific client into what they're interested, what they have bought from you, how long they've been with you, and what type of interactions they have with you. And there are many, many CRM systems out there. You just have to have the right strategy to communicate with them and make them feel like they're the only client that you do have, even though that you may have thousands. And I think that the CRM will be the basis for a good structure of marketing between sales and marketing because it's where your audience lives. And without an audience, you don't have a business.
Plain and simple. Oh my God, I love that. And Pablo, I cannot thank you enough for sharing your expertise, all this wonderful information. I mean, I know you are the king of the CRM. I know that. So if anybody is interested in learning more about marketing, marketing systems, CRMs, this is a must in any business. I'm going to leave Pablo's information at the bottom of this episode so you can get in contact with him if you have any question whatsoever. I want to thank you again for being here with us today. It's so wonderful to have you and to learn from a truly an expert in the field. Thank you so much again, everybody, for joining us today, and I'll see you next time. Take care.